from Jerusalem is Hanoch Milwitsky. He is a member of Knesset for the ruling Likud party, joining us from Jerusalem. Hanoch, I know you were just in this, took a trip to the U.S. I'll get to that in a minute, but I do have to talk about the big story of the night, the meeting between the war cabinet, including the prime minister and the hostages, talks about a possible hostage deal. Maybe the most difficult choice any politician has to face in this country is signing off on this kind of deal in a wartime. I want to get your thoughts about it, and if you think this government is ready to do it. How do you personally feel about it? Because at any rate, even at the cost of saving hostages, there is a price to be paid. This is not going to be an easy decision.
Absolutely. We just finished a meeting, a 2-hour meeting with representatives of the families of the people who were hijacked and are held hostage in Gaza. For 2 hours, they spoke to us, shared their thoughts, the great pain they're feeling, and they had a very clear message, to us at least, saying no to a deal that does not include all the hostages. They want everybody, they want one deal that concludes everybody. They're not willing to go through that way of separate deals, which has the Hamas basically choose who they want to release and who they're keeping captive. That is their message. You know, the war cabinet that is dealing with this issue has info, has intelligence data that I don't have. So I don't really have much more information than everybody else does. And, you know, looking at the families, for me, they're the main issue. And we need to somehow do right by them and make them, whatever decision is being made at the end, they need to understand it. They need to be explained why we're doing what we're doing, even if they don't agree. And the cards should be opened to them. This is what I think, at least.
Right, I understand, Hanoch. And of course, only it really is the war cabinet that ultimately is going to have to make this decision, maybe go to the security cabinet. They'll have that vital information. But at the end of the day, the government's going to have to stand by the decision. If the public, as you said, of course, first and foremost, it has to be the hostage families that have to live with it, the public in general, but also the government and all members of the government, your party, and also its partners have to be supportive of the deal. And that was a contentious meeting. We don't need to go into the details with you. But do you feel that there is that unity in the government if that kind of deal has to be made that is going to entail some painful sacrifices?
You know, basically, I think it will depend on the future of what we see. They're talking about not a ceasefire, but a pause.
Okay.
We need to understand what is that pause, how much lives we are endangering because of that pause. And we need to make sure that by getting back the hostages, we're not harming our soldiers there or anything like that. That's the main issue, at least what I see it. It's very important to get back the hostages. It's something we have to do in order to complete our victory, but it's not, we have to do it not jeopardizing the entire war, which is basically meant to disable Hamas abilities to continue ruling the Gaza Strip.
All right. That is live footage of that rally outside the Tel Aviv, the IDF headquarters in the area. We're getting reports that the meeting has started between the Prime Minister and the War Cabinet and the family representatives. Hanoch, I know you were just in the U.S. I want to ask you about that. They had this big rally. Succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. But of course, there are challenges on many levels in the U.S. On one hand, also making that case to the U.S. public, and then also in the U.S. government, and make sure Israel and the U.S. Stay on board about it. So let me get your impressions from that trip to Washington.
Yes, it was a very meaningful trip. What made me really understand, you know, in Israel, we take October 7th as an Israeli issue, but it's really a world Jewish issue. affecting every Jew all over the world. Their sense of security has been damaged because of what happened on October 7th. Anti-Semitic incidents are on the rise. And their thoughts about Israel, their understanding of their dependency in Israel, I think, has shifted towards Israel. They're talking about making Israel strong again. They're talking about diverting investments into Israel. And that is one very meaningful and I must say positive thing I got from the meeting. Another challenge was what's happening right now in the Democratic Party. Although the the high-ranked officials are behind Israel completely, the middle range and lower range congressmen and public officials aren't so decisive. There was a sort of like we call it an Italian strike of several hundreds of their aides, their political aides, because of the support in Israel.
Right, in the State Department especially, there was also that letter, yeah.
And there's a very, very fierce challenge over there to make the Israeli point, and to see all those people, almost 300,000 people, shouting for Israel, shouting to bring home the hostages, committing to stand behind Israel and say no to anti-Semitism together was a very, very strong and meaningful thing. And I think we in Israel need to support those efforts because, most Israelis, when you talk to them about anti-Semitic things, they don't really know about it. They haven't experienced it so much. And this is something we need to gap. We need the Israeli public to understand the problems the Jewish communities are having all over the world in order for them to feel the support they need to give back to these communities.
All right. Now, of course, President Biden, though, has been strongly supportive of Israel, its war effort to now. However, it has to be said, his vision of where this is leading to certainly differs from the government or even the Likud party. He did speak about a two-state solution. He's spoken about the day after the Palestinian Authority. I'm asking you because you addressed this in one of your tweets recently. There is a question of, who's going to administer Gaza? And you've expressed a view on that and regarding the Palestinian Authority, and it has to be asked about that. And if not them, who?
Well, I don't really know now, but I know this Palestinian Authority, and I think you can find the same in President Biden's words. This Palestinian Authority, this is authority that pays and sponsors terror. This is authority that denies the Holocaust in Germany and the new Holocaust the Jewish people suffered here in Israel on October 7th. Only yesterday, they made I don't know how to call it, statement from their Foreign Affairs Office saying that really the Israelis killed all those people in the party. And it wasn't even them. And, these things, it's very clear they're not a partner. It's very clear the Palestinian people do not accept them. And if it wasn't for Israeli guns controlling the Judea and Samaria area, their faith will probably be the same as their partners in Gaza, which were overthrown by Hamas very quickly. We need to understand that. We need to not be delusional of the things we are. We need to control the area security-wise, and all the civil issues. Well, we need to address and how we do it. If you're telling me find a solution from the back of your head, I don't have any ready or prepared solution. But I know the Palestinian Authority is not the answer. It's part of the problem.
All right, Hanoch Milutski, a member of Knesset from the Likud party. Thank you for joining us on I-24 News.
Thank you very much.